Abigail, a 12-year-old ballet dancer from New York, was joyfully practicing for her ballet recital, completely unaware of the danger lurking nearby. After her performance, she returned home only to be caught off guard by criminals. They quickly subdued her with sedatives and kidnapped her, taking her to a secluded mansion. At the mansion, they met Lambert, their cold and calculating leader. He informed them that they were going to demand a $50 million ransom from Abigail's father. Lambert sternly instructed them to keep personal information secret from each other and Abigail. He emphasized that their only tasks were to watch over her for the next 24 hours, collect the ransom, and then leave quietly. Among the criminals were Joey, a former Army medic dismissed due to drug abuse; Frank, an ex-detective; Peter, not the brightest and formerly associated with the Canadian Mafia; Dean, a driver lacking empathy; Sammy, a skilled hacker from a wealthy family who turned to crime for thrills; and Rickles, a former Marine sniper. Lambert instructed them to ditch their phones to avoid being traced. Meanwhile, Abigail was confined in a room, her hands tied and eyes blindfolded. Concerned that she might recognize them, the kidnappers wore masks when checking on her. Joey, tasked with monitoring Abigail, felt a surge of compassion. She was a mother herself. She adjusted Abigail's blindfold and handcuffs to alleviate her discomfort. During their encounter, a frightened Abigail questioned Joey about her safety. Joey assured her that no harm would come if her father paid the ransom. Abigail expressed a deep fear that her father might not actually care about her. After returning from Abigail's room, Joey's concern for the young girl deepened, prompting her to inquire about Abigail's father. Curiosity piqued. Frank, too, found himself drawn to the mystery, and, in a sudden burst of urgency, he stormed into Abigail's room, pressing her to reveal her father's identity. Under pressure, Abigail hesitantly disclosed that her father was Christophe Lazare, a name that struck Frank with a chilling wave of fear. He quickly relayed this information to the rest of the group, igniting a palpable anxiety among them. The revelation of Abigail's father's identity threw the group into turmoil as they wrestled with the dangerous implications of their target. Concerned for Abigail's well-being and their own safety, Joey suggested they treat her with kindness, provide her with food, contact the police anonymously, and find a way to leave the mansion as soon as possible. However, Frank accused Joey of jeopardizing their safety by removing Abigail's blindfold, which might allow her to identify him later. Joey defended her actions, insisting she was the only one supposed to enter Abigail's room, not anyone else. The situation escalated when they discovered the mansion's doors were locked with a timer set to open only after 24 hours. When Rickles attempted to force the doors, they automatically activated additional security measures, effectively turning the mansion into a prison. Trapped and anxious, the group faced not only the physical confines of the mansion, but also the mounting fear of Christophe Lazare. Meanwhile, Dean dismisses the notion of Christophe Lazare as a real threat, joking about it as if it were just a scary story. In contrast, Frank vehemently insists on the very real danger they face. The group finds itself divided over Joey's actions, with some members suggesting that eliminating Abigail could guarantee their safety. Joey, however, stands firm against any harm coming to the girl, arguing passionately for her protection. Tensions rise further when Rickles pulls Joey aside, voicing his mistrust of the others and emphasizing the need for solidarity. At the same time, Dean, drawn by an eerie old painting resembling Abigail, ventures into the basement. There, a chilling and mysterious force attacks him. The horrifying scene unfolds when Sammy, drawn by a terrible noise, discovers Dean's decapitated body. Her scream pierces the silence, drawing the group to the basement. As they gather around the gruesome sight, their initial shock gives way to horror, with many suspecting a wild beast might be lurking within the mansion. The tension among them intensifies as fear and suspicion start to cloud their judgment. The situation descends into chaos as the group learns about a notorious enforcer named Valdez, who is Lazare's henchman. They suspect that Valdez, infamous for his violent signature on victims, might have killed Dean and could be hiding among them. As panic grips them, they realize that they've walked into a meticulously laid trap. Driven by a need to protect, Joey rushes to question Abigail about additional intruders. At first, Abigail denies seeing anyone else, but under the mounting pressure, she reveals that a man with glasses named Valdez had threatened her into silence. This description unsettlingly matches Frank's appearance. Accusations fly, and the group turns on Frank, suspecting him of being Valdez in disguise, which leads to a tense standoff. Frank, in disbelief, argues that Abigail is manipulating the situation to sow discord among them. Amidst this turmoil, Rickles is found brutally mutilated and killed, escalating the group's fear and suspicion. They confront Abigail for answers, but in a shocking twist, she transforms into a vampire, claiming she is the real Valdez. Frank attempts to shoot her, but her wounds heal instantly, sending the group fleeing in terror. Somehow they manage to lock her in her room. That's what they thought. Back in the living area, their desperate attempts to subdue Abigail with garlic and crucifixes fail miserably against her supernatural strength and speed. Just as all seems lost, Joey uses a tranquilizer to tame Abigail. They manage to imprison her, but not before she bites Sammy, turning her into a vampire as well. When Abigail awakens, she reveals a chilling backstory. She orchestrated her own abduction to lure the group into her trap. Each member, she claims, has wronged her father in the past, and she has been eliminating such enemies in a twisted attempt to win her father's approval. Abigail taunts the group, explaining that she sees them as no more than toys in her cruel game. Frank, grappling with the reality of their dire situation, questions why Abigail would choose such a complex form of torture rather than outright killing them. Her response is cold and calculated. She enjoys playing with her food, savoring the fear and chaos she creates. Tensions peak when Abigail offers a dark bargain: help her escape, and she'll spare 2 members of the group. Despite this, Joey remains defiant. A struggle ensues with Peter, whom Joey shoots to prevent him from opening the door that would free Abigail. Joey knew it was a trap. She then takes Peter and Sammy to the library, and Frank stays back to keep an eye on Abigail. Misleading Frank into believing she knows of a secret escape route in the library, Abigail once again deceives them, deepening Frank's sense of betrayal. While Frank was searching for the hidden door, Abigail shattered her confines and lunged at him. In that critical moment, Joey intervened, smashing a wooden window to let sunlight stream in. The sunlight blasted Abigail's hand, but it began to regenerate almost immediately. The brief respite in the sunlit library, which keeps Abigail's vampire tendencies at bay, is shattered when Sammy, under Abigail's influence, turns into a vampire and violently ends Peter's life. Joey and Frank are forced to flee from Sammy through the dark corridors of the mansion. In a desperate moment, Joey uses a tray to reflect sunlight to destroy Sammy, revealing a hidden door in the process. They find themselves in the control room, confronting Lambert. Overcome with rage and betrayal, Frank attacks Lambert, who is also revealed to be a vampire and a pawn in Abigail's deadly game. Lambert then turns Frank into a vampire. Lambert offers Frank a deal for his family's safety, but Frank, fueled by his newfound vampiric strength, kills Lambert in a shocking turn of events. The confrontation escalates when Abigail enters the control room. She and Frank, now both vampires, engage in a fierce battle which Abigail seems to lose. Amidst the chaos, Joey tries to escape, but soon Frank finds her. As the battle rages, Frank, reveling in his new powers, bites Joey, intending to turn her into a vampire to use as a pawn against Abigail. However, his plan fails due to his inexperience, and Joey, regaining her senses, teams up with Abigail to confront him. In a dramatic twist, Abigail and Joey succeed in defeating Frank. Joey even turns human, as Frank no longer exists. As it ends, Abigail's father, Christophe Lazar, arrives at the mansion. Lazar threatens to kill Joey, but Abigail intervenes. She defends Joey's actions and emphasizes that Joey helped her when needed. Moved by his daughter's pleas, Lazar allows Joey to leave. Joey escapes the mansion, deeply affected by the events that unfolded. Having survived a night of unimaginable terror and forged an unlikely alliance with Abigail, she leaves the nightmare behind to rebuild the life she almost lost with her son.